Hello, welcome to Tea with Molly. Today we have Tamika Josephs-Smith. She is the CEO and an event planner at Diamond Event Services. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I want to actually start the show off by saying congratulations for all of your accomplishments. You've been running your business for quite a while now. And the first question I have is, how did you get started? Why did you choose event planning? Was it something that you loved doing as a child? Did you grow into it, or did somebody kind of mentor you into the role?
Well, it started primarily, the pivotal point was when I planned my own wedding, actually. So yes, growing up and in college, I enjoyed planning events for people, helping them out, a birthday party here and there, or maybe there's a shop owner who's doing a grand opening or something, client appreciation. And then in 2007, I got married and planned my own wedding. I had a great time, putting it all together and just having, getting everything to work together. And at the end of doing that, and when you're planning a wedding, I spent 9 months planning my wedding, and it takes a lot of your time. And when you're done, you're kind of like, oh, now what? I'm married. And I kind of felt like I was missing something, and I remembered how much I enjoyed that whole process of putting everything together. And that is essentially what started Diamond Event Services.
And it was primarily focused on wedding at first when you started?
Yeah, when I first started, I started the business thinking about wedding planning. One of the things I did, even though I knew that weddings was what I was going to focus on, I did Diamond Event Services because I didn't forget that I enjoyed planning other types of events, and I didn't want to, start off being known for just wedding planning, even though that had become my kind of strong point from doing my own wedding.
Now, I'm curious to know, so you got married, and then you decided, okay, what should I be doing? I enjoyed that. I was on a high planning this thing. Now I'm married, and then I don't know what to do. And you decided, well, let's start a business. Who does that, first of all? Let's just start a business. And secondly, how do you go about starting a company and getting clients? Because I think that is a question that many business owners have. When you come in and you decide to launch something that you're passionate about, number one, and it's a creative business, number two, so it's not just widgets that you're selling. It's a concept, it's a feeling, and all that good stuff. How do you go about marketing yourself?
Well, I should probably step back just a little bit. I didn't launch right into full-time Diamond Event Services back in 2007. I was a financial advisor at the time when I was planning my wedding, and I enjoyed financial advising. One of the main things I enjoyed about it was helping people, helping them with their budgets, helping them start with an idea of where they were trying to get to, and then helping them through that process, similar to what you do in event planning in a more creative way. So I definitely continued working my job with this idea of Diamond Event Services. I did the small things. I gave the company a name, I got a website, but I really didn't launch fully into it till actually 3 years later. So I did definitely, I knew that's where I wanted to go. I think I was a little bit kind of held back because I had the job security of being a financial advisor, and I knew that I wanted to do this, but again, like you said, it was creative, and who does that? Like, how can I leave my job? How can I, go full into this unknown? So I definitely held back a little bit and kind of stayed a little secure for a little bit as I kind of thought about it. So, yeah.
How did you switch gears from the analytical brain into something a lot more creative? Did your language around your marketing change? And it's interesting because pre-show, you and I uncovered that we both have a similar background. I was a financial planner before I launched my creative business and messaging. And for me, I found it very much like you. What am I going to do? Because I was doing this for 7 years, and it became a routine, and you know it so well. You can do it like with your eyes closed. And now I'm going to leave it for the unknown, How did you, when you first decided to fully go to full-time, to running your business, What was the first thought that came over you when you left and this brand new door just opened and now you're on your own and now you're an event planner? You're no
Right.
longer a financial advisor, you're an event planner.
Right.
What were the first thoughts that flooded your brain?
The first thought was actually a real sigh of relief. I felt like I was entering where I really belonged. Because on that last day of my 9 to 5 job, I was excited. You know, I was excited to launch into something that for 3 years had really tugged at my heart, like this is where I should be. And so that was the initial feeling. And I think probably many people who have started businesses or had an idea of starting business can attest to that feeling leaves in about 1.5 months. You know, like it slowly your reality starts to set in and you have this whole business and now you realize you need to market, and it's not like your 9 to 5 where for me as a financial advisor, the company put out lots of ads and we got people just calling to come in. And now this was mine. I had to find out how I was going to get clients and what was I going to do. I tried a couple different things for trying to, like the word in my natural market, go out and like, I'm doing this now. Anybody need any help with planning? You know, that kind of thing. And just by nature, I'm someone that likes to control as much as possible. So once I realized that that wasn't really going as fast as I thought, I said, well, I'm looking for an event, someone's event to do. Oddly enough, in that year, 2010, I said, well, you know what, why don't I create an event? I can't seem to find anyone who wants me to, you know, necessarily push their event. And I started thinking about what kind of things, you know, what did I want for Diamond Event Services? What kind of events did I want to have out there in the community? And actually that's what led to the pink event that I have coming up. Yeah, as I started with that.
Well, that's perfect segue into it, because we are definitely going to talk about the pink event and you know, really the mission behind all of that. And before we get there, I am curious, do you remember your first client and what that felt like when they actually said they wanted you to be their event planner?
Yes, I do. It was someone I had already known, and it was interesting. I had been trying to do weddings, and I had already helped people in the past before I became officially Diamond Event Services, and then all of a sudden I was this official business and I had no wedding clients. So I had a friend of a friend call up and say she wanted to plan her wedding. And she had called around at different wedding planners, and she had a very, very small budget. And when she called around, everyone told her she couldn't do it with that budget. So they kind of didn't want to be hired. Right. And so she heard from a friend that I was doing this. You know, I was doing wedding planning. And I said, oh yeah, I'm doing wedding planning. We sat down, we met, and of course I can do it in your budget. I wasn't, oh, that's too small or anything like that. And I was super excited when we got started. And actually, she didn't know until years later that she was the first client. She found out later.
You know, the first experiences are typically the ones that kind of set the stage for how we run the rest of our business. Mm-hmm. And one of your mission behind the event planning that you do is on budget and on time. And I think that's really important, because even in my experience, I've had to host a lot of different events. And when I've worked with some of the planners, it's very interesting because they typically want to stretch your budget. And you know, you're kind of like, no, but my budget is this. Right. And being able to find someone who will say, no, we will work within your budget. And in your case, even if we can do it below your budget, you know, I think that's important in terms of a unique differentiator for your company, because we really do have a hard time finding someone who, especially when you're small and you're a growing business, and a lot of solopreneurs in the area who want to host these amazing events, but we're also in the DC market. And so it takes somebody who has relationships with other vendors, who can work deals, who can negotiate. And when you're trying to do your craft, you don't have time to plan the event. You don't have time for the headache. So when you go about marketing and you're talking to all these different either corporate businesses, you know, individuals, how do you understand their needs? Like, is there a process that you put them through? Do you have one-on-ones? What is it like when they contact your company to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, when they contact me, I mean, my main thing is getting to know the person that I'm working with before I even learn about the event. So it's my first step is to get to know the person and the reason behind why they're doing an event. So if it's a social event or what have you, I want to know, what is your mission? What is your vision for this event? If it's a family event, if it's a wedding, no matter what it is, every event has some kind of vision or outcome that the person's expecting, what the company's expecting. And so that's the first thing that I want to know. Once we get that clear, we start to talk about ways to achieve that vision. And it's not always about the money, but if you have an idea of what your client wants or what they're looking for, of course it makes it easier to recommend appropriate vendors or appropriate ideas that fit in their budget. I like for the planning process, I always use the term that I'm going to give you peace of mind. And I think peace of mind comes around knowing that everything is going to be handled. And so I like to make sure that my clients understand I'm going to take care of everything. You're not going to have to worry about me trying to stretch you past your budget or not staying within what you want. And so that's usually my process. I just try to listen to what my clients want. We usually become really good friends when it's all said and done. We work so closely together. I like to be accessible. I like them to understand that any aspect of their event, and sometimes even personal things that affect planning an event, that I'm there to listen, to understand, to help them through it, and ultimately create the vision that they're looking for.
Well, I also find it fascinating because it takes a unique individual to be an event planner. It takes both someone who's very detail oriented, but at the same time someone who's creative and can think outside the box. Especially when you are working on whatever budget it is, but also working with people and the social aspect of how to negotiate and the relationship that is required to make things happen. Yeah. How do you handle when somebody says, no, I can't work with that budget, but you're basically representing your client,
yes.
Right? So it's amazing to watch that part of you who was a financial advisor, the analytical piece, the being able to have that business savviness, but also when you're creating this image, this desired outcome that is unknown until it happens based on a vision that your client has given you, it really requires creativity as well. So it's kind of nice to be able to kind of mix the two finally,
yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So let's talk about this upcoming The Pink event.
Oh, yes.
So it was launched, but like you said, you were finding a way for you to kind of go out there with your business, and you said, okay, I'm going to throw this event. So what was it like the first time going out there fresh and green in the market and saying, I'm just going to throw an event, I don't care.
Right, exactly.
if people show up or not.
Right, exactly. Well, it was definitely an experience, and I was, when the idea came for the Pink event, for me, I was looking to do an event that would help people. That was my first thought process. I, being a small, very, very new business owner, looked at how can I create an event that would support someone like me. And so that was the beginning of the Pink event. The pieces kind of fell in together as I talked with family and friends and just kind of evolved. So I knew that I definitely wanted an event that was going to support small business owners and primarily women business owners like myself. I knew I also wanted an event where people were going to get some kind of inspiration, education, some kind of knowledge, but I didn't want it to be like a typical conference. I wanted it to be light and fun, but you walk away with not just a good feeling, but some solid information and solid tools and things that you could use after the event. And then the last part that I thought about is I have to give something back. So I felt like I have a lot of passion around charities that focus and help women, whether it be medical illnesses like breast cancer awareness, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be those places that are giving shelter to women and children who need. So I felt like I needed to give something back to the community from this event. So those were the three parts and then it kind of evolved.
Great. So what was the attendance like in the first year, and how has that evolved now that you are this is your 5th year,
Yes.
this is a 5-year anniversary and a big event coming up here in the spring. So let's talk a little bit about that, the difference between when you first launched it and how has it evolved to today?
Okay. When I first launched it, it was small. I didn't have much of a marketing budget, and I didn't have much ways to get the word out about the event. So the first year, we tapped into nearly 100 people at the event. I was excited.
That's still really great
the
for your
event
first
happened.
event.
I was happy about that. I had aimed for such a high number of these. That's another thing when you're starting something and you just kind of dive in head first. So I was aiming for such a large amount. I immediately, right after the event, I started thinking, what can I do to make this better for next year? I really want to, I actually thought about everyone else. I thought about my exhibitors and my sponsors and my supporters and attendees. What could I do to make this even better? Fast forward to now, we've nearly tripled the attendance. It's awesome. We've doubled the amount of exhibitors that are being able to showcase at the event. It's just been really exciting.
What is it like to plan something like this 5 years later? It's tripled now. When you first launched it, it was you, yourself and you. Tell us a little bit about your team in terms of how did you go about finding people who would be willing to say, okay, I want to help. What's that like?
Well, a lot of it was being in the right place at the right time and being open to the opportunities that were coming. A lot of times we overanalyze, and that's me by nature, overanalyze the opportunities that are coming your way. So after the first year, or during that first year event, right before it launched, I had joined a couple of different groups online and was networking in that way and meeting new people. I had recently moved to a new city in town. I didn't know very many people, so I used that tool, the online, to meet people in person at events and so forth. And I met a young lady, Marguerite, and she attended the first event, and her background is in PR and promotions, and she attended the first event. And I don't know if she thought this, I'm gonna say my own words. She looked and probably said, it needs help. It needs help. But she actually we kept in contact as friends. We did not meet at through the event. We met through another way, but we kept in contact, and she literally just said, hey, I want to help you. This is a great idea. I want to help you, as far as promoting and so forth, and just came right on board. That was amazing to me, and the overanalyzer in me was like, why is she doing this? And why does she want to help me? Oh gosh, I hope I don't have to pay her. No, I'm kidding. No, but you start thinking all these things, and you're like, what is going on? And then she introduced me to other people who are still on the team today, who have joined the team, and it's just as people hear about the event and as I meet people. One of my big supporters, I can't forget, of course, is my husband. He's been supporting from day one, as far as his backgrounds in DJing and music and so forth. And so he's been a supporter, and he's on the team. My mom is on the team. So other than my mom, Mike, and Marguerite, that was our small little team to start off with. We've now acquired other people through, over the years. But.
So when you're looking out at the events you've done, this is the 5th year coming up here, but for the last 4 years, you're at the event, you're behind the scenes, you're kind of also in the limelight because everybody wants to always know who founded this, who created this, who's the creator of this. When you look out and you see all the exhibitors and you see the caliber of people who show up and you see the swag bags and you hear the music and people are really enjoying themselves, what does it feel like to look back and you've grown something and people actually look forward to it every year? So how does that feel, and what's your vision moving forward for the Pink event?
Right. Well, in one word, it's amazing. I couldn't have dreamt it up. Like I literally look out, like this past March for our 4th one, and I looked where we had it, I looked down as I was coming down the elevator and saw all the exhibitors and people, and it gets emotional. You just can't believe that your little tiny idea grew into this. I also get emotional just by the people I meet. Like, so you mentioned behind the scenes, which I try to stay sometimes, but I see people, I meet people, I hear their stories. Everybody's there for different reasons. Because we do donate a portion to breast cancer awareness, and in the past we've done even domestic violence and different things. So these people who are affected by these causes come to the event and they share their stories, and they share stories with each other. And then after the event, you hear about people tell me people that they met there, organizations they met there, other business people they met, and how they've connected, and you see these connections. It's amazing. You feel really good about that it's doing exactly what I set out for it to do.
So walk us through the event. Walk us through the day. What is it going to look like this year in March? What is it going to look like? We enter the hotel. What happens?
Yes. Well, first of all, the coveted swag bags is what a lot of people look forward to. We've had a different design and look to it each year. They're filled with different things that we've gotten from sponsors and so forth. So you're gonna, of course, check in and get your swag bag. And you're gonna be met with a huge exhibitor hall with about 50 exhibitors. Every type of product and services that would be important to women are definitely, our exhibitors are we use them to target what women would like, So you'll see everything from clothing and jewelry. We have virtual assistants there, so if you're coming there and you're starting a business, or you have a business and you're looking for help in that avenue, we have people with nutrition. We've had a chiropractor in the past, and so it's just all types of things. It's not just shopping. Of course, shopping is a big part. We all like to shop and get new little trinkets and things that you probably wouldn't find in a typical store. That's another good thing. We have a lot of handmade things, commercial things. But also it's the services and the information that you'll get at the event. So you'll have that exhibitor hall. We also have our speaker lounge, and where you're going to get a lot of little different information. We always have our partnering charity. Usually someone speaks from that charity, and then also sometimes we'll have a breast cancer survivor speak and share their story. Then we have people who speak on different parts of living your best life, ways to market your business. So just a variety of small talks and information. And we introduced 2 new things this year. That's going to be very exciting. We have a pamper lounge. And in the pamper lounge, you're going to be able to try out some services and massages, manicures, all kinds of things like that, to really encompass the whole Ultimate Woman's Day Out, which is what we say. So we just thought that was a nice addition. And we also are going to introduce the Pink Cafe. So, interesting thing, we started this event thinking people would come in, do a little shopping, hear a few talks, and then head out. But what has evolved and what's happened is that this 12 to 6-hour day, people are really looking forward to staying the whole day.
Right, they want to hang out.
Right, hang out. They take a break from the exhibitors, they go out in the lobby area, they meet other people, they sit and talk and chat. They have the light refreshments. And what we got from feedback, and we're always listening to feedback about the event to help it grow and become better, is what about lunch? We want to take a break in the day and have lunch and then go back at it. So we introduced the Pink Cafe. That's brand new for this year. So that people can actually, they don't have to leave the hotel. They can have lunch and keep on going.
That's really nice. Have you picked out your charity of choice this year?
Yes, we
For
have.
the coming year? Okay,
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about the charity?
Oh, certainly. The charity that we're working with this year, and we've worked with in the past, is 4-3 Sisters. We're so excited to work with them. They definitely fit perfectly with the Pink event. Like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to be an event where it's, yes, you're getting information like you'd get at a conference, but in a lighter, more fun atmosphere. And what I find with 4-3 Sisters, a very serious issue like breast cancer awareness, where we know that this year over 200,000 cases of invasive breast cancer will occur. And we know, unfortunately, approximately 40,000 of those women won't win their battle. So it's a very serious and heavy topic. And what 4-3 Sisters has done is they actually have brought awareness to unexpected places. So we know we expect awareness at different awareness events and galas and dinners and things like that, but they're at, motorbike rallies, right, bringing awareness where people wouldn't expect to see them. It was founded by Marshall and Shannon Moneymaker, and Marshall's known as the Pink Fireman.
Okay.
And he actually was a firefighter. He's a retired firefighter, and he lost his 3 sisters to breast cancer. And it's always a nice, they've been at the event before. This year they've been selected as our charity partner, but they've been there before, and always great feedback. It's interesting to see a firefighter dressed up in a pink outfit, at the event, but they're also just doing such great work in the community, and which is what we look for in our partners. They're definitely helping men and women who are affected by breast cancer.
It's really inspiring to watch it, because it's not just about having an event that's going to just be fun, which is an element of that, because life is hard, wants to have fun, wants to go out and actually enjoy, because everything else around us sometimes is so chaotic. Yeah. Nice to meet people who want to just relax and get to know each other and put your hair down. Yeah. But the overarching goal is that people do get inspired and educated, and I think that is such a critical piece of how we create awareness around difficult topics, yeah, difficult topics that nobody really wants to talk about. Yeah. And when you have an event that promotes inspiration, fun, adventure, and a fireman who's dressed in pink, right? People are more apt to come, and even though they may not necessarily desire to feel heavy, it's really important that the reality of what's happening in the world is still a part of our everyday lives. Yeah. So what do you think will happen once somebody leaves the event? Like, what has happened in the past, and what do you hope, because of this year, it's going to be landing on International Women's Day, right? So it's going to be on March 8th. And you thought, what a great day to celebrate International Women's Day and put this event together. Why women, and why choose that day for this event?
Right. Well, first of all, when it comes to the event, we purposely also wanted to put it in March, being that it's International Women's Month as well. And it's just an opportunity to celebrate women in every aspect. And with it falling on International Women's Day, it's just an extra for us that we're able to celebrate the accomplishments of women, just celebrate each other, and uplift each other and support each other. So that's really important. I hope, and what I've seen in the past, actually, people have left the event and made lasting friendships and connections. I've seen it through when I'm at another event, or through social media, or just through emails or quick messages that people will send me. And they've met various people and just connected and just grown from that, whether it be from a business or personal relationship. Those things I've seen, those things happen. I hope that when people leave the event, they walk away ready and energized to live out whatever it is that they are trying to do. You get inspiration from these women who share their stories about living your best life, and you get inspiration from seeing these small business owners promoting and selling their products. Maybe you come to the event just to have fun, and then you realize that could be me, or I can start that project that I was thinking about and I haven't really, moved ahead with. And in addition to just thinking that, hopefully you make connections where they can make it a reality. You get that support. One of the things that I didn't see coming in creating the event was creating a community. And it's slowly becoming that. And that's so amazing to me, and I really, really am excited about that because it's more than just the event. It's more than the day or the few days after. I'm seeing that the people who are coming right every year. They're remembering people they saw last year. They're looking for that same business owner they saw last year or that same person. They're connecting. Are you going to be here? You know, it's really, really become a community of people. So that's exciting too. And that's exactly what I want to happen. People to walk away and feel like they have a little network here of people who really are interested in supporting one another.
Well, community is big, and I think because we have so many different interests, and here in the DC market and expanding beyond DC, you know, all the way up to Baltimore is your reach really for this event, is the fact that we do have such a diverse background in this area. We all come from every walk of life, every country and nationality you could think of in the area, and it's important that at a human level, you know, the sense of community is really about the heart stuff, right? The
Yes.
soul stuff. And this is really something that's important to you, being a community advocate that you are. I also want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity here on Tea with Melly to be your media sponsor for the event, and also the Store Community Network to sponsor. And you know, that's another opportunity for us to talk about sponsorships. You are seeking sponsors. You are also seeking exhibitors. So let's talk about the type of sponsors that have supported you in the past and why it makes sense so that we maybe can invite some folks to sponsor as well.
Right, definitely. We've had sponsors in the past when it comes to, like you said, mentioned with media and promotion, and we do thank you, and I'm so excited about having Tea with Mali on board.
Honored. Thank you. We're honored. We'll be there.
Yes. But the type of sponsors that we're looking for, I mean, we still have spaces available for small business owners who are interested in showcasing their services and products at the event. We have opportunities still for promotion in our program and in our swag bags, also in promotion for our Pink Cafe and those types of sponsorship opportunities. There we have both for monetary sponsorship and we also have for non-monetary. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be a part of this event to not only support us, but equally important to promote your businesses and services to our attendees and beyond.
Perfect. Where is it going to be held?
It's going to be at the BWI Airport Marriott in Ithaca, Maryland, which is just outside of Baltimore.
Right. And how can people find out more about the Pink event itself? Is there a website?
Yes, everything's on our website at thepinkevent.net. Yeah.
It's important to know. Okay, so we've talked about the Pink event, we've talked about potential sponsors, we've talked about the whole theme and goal and mission behind the Pink event. Now I want to talk more about you.
Sure.
I want to talk more about you as an entrepreneur. I want to talk more about you as a community advocate. How do you find time to balance the work that you want to do for the world, the actual running of a business, and also your personal life? Your friends, your family, your husband. You know, what is that like to get up in the morning and to make it all happen?
Right. Well, the first thing that I would say is that my calendar, believe it or not, calendar is everything. And it seems funny. I talk to sometimes new business owners who, like, we'll mentor each other. Like, I have people I ask questions to help me with my business, and sometimes people will come to me, and when you kind of powwow around it, people say, you know, they don't really understand how important the calendar is, and I'm not talking from a business perspective either. The calendar for me is scheduling time for family, for friends, for me time. I put it all in. You know, if you don't schedule it, it's a funny thing I heard somewhere, if you don't schedule it, it doesn't exist. Like, you know, you need to put it on the calendar. And a lot of times, the biggest problem I see or issue I see with some new business owners is they're so passionate, like I am and like many of us are, about our business, that we don't think we need to put anything on our calendar unless it has to do with our business. So we don't think that we need to schedule time with the husband or with the kids or with friends and, you know, other family or trips, or just, you know what, like just schedule a day of doing nothing. You know, those things do need to be put on the calendar, because when you're working, for me, I look forward to those things. I look forward to the Monday that I'm doing nothing, you know?
I feel like I'm talking to my twin. And I will say I have to commend the years as a financial rep for this, because they really taught, at least me, me, in my case, they really taught me how to utilize my calendar. And I used to use the color codes, and I still do, like what is social, what is personal, but everything was on that calendar.
Yes.
And that calendar ruled me, and I'm actually really grateful. And so as you're talking, I'm like, oh gosh, we are definitely from the same background, because that's what I used to do when I was in financial services. And those skills, those business skills stay with us,
Yes.
you know, and it's really helpful when you're running a business to have that side of the business savvy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we can dream all we want to.
Yes.
We can be up here high in the sky. A lot of times, you know, my husband has to tell me, come back down to earth. Like, it's okay to have those big dreams, but how are you going to get it done, right? So do you have any tips for, you know, creative entrepreneurs that are either just launched, or in your case, you've been at this for several years now and you're growing? How do you make it? Because so many business owners don't make it. You know, what are some tips, or what are the things that worked for you?
Right. I mean, I know it's cliche and people hear it all the time, don't give up. But to me, that's what it's really about. But it's not just simply don't give up. It doesn't help for, like, my suggestion is if you're doing something and it's not working for you and you feel like giving up, it's not giving up that you need to do, it's readjusting that you need to do. So to me, it's like, you're going down this path and you've really, you know, you've had maybe a failure or a mishap and it hasn't worked out exactly how you planned. And usually our response when things don't work, human nature sometimes is to either shut down, depending on your personality, or to just give up on it, or like, you know what, I guess that wasn't supposed to be. And the thing that I've learned the most, and I would recommend that any business owner do, is don't think that it's not meant to be just because something didn't work out. It's probably meant to be, but meant to be differently.
Great advice.
So you just got to keep, you know, at it. Just keep going. And definitely it always helps. And not everyone is fortunate to have that, but to find someone, even if it's just one person that's your support person, that will be that voice of reason when you want to throw in the towel, you know, completely. You're like, this is done, you know. And they will be that one person. And then, you know, as much as you can, be that person for them. Because for every time that you need that voice in your head, someone else needs that voice too. So, I mean, as much as you give out is what you get back too. So I think my main tip is just don't give up. Don't give up. Just know that you may need to adjust things a little bit.
How about pipelining? How about making sure that you always have stuff going in your pipeline, right? Because you're talking about having this major event that, and with the event planning, you spend so much time, sometimes months, getting everything ready for this one pivotal moment, or this one day, or this one weekend, whatever the event and occasion might be, and then it's done. It's over. Cleanup's over. And then you have this lull. But as a business, you can't afford a long lull.
No.
So how do you do it where you're constantly, because it's ebb and flow, it's up and down, but how do you continue to have a lot of different things going on so that when this event is done, or this project or this sales cycle is done, another one is right there waiting? Right.
It's very important to go back to that calendar. This is now strictly business calendar idea. If you're calendaring your space for your big project, and in my case, as you use this, like I have this big event coming up and I have time that I'm going to be working on that event. But you always, as a business owner, have to schedule marketing, meeting people, you know, not necessarily the most formal marketing that you may be thinking about, putting an ad here or something like that, but that marketing that's just building relationships, talking to people, no matter what your business is. So in my case, it's event planning, so I'm constantly looking at, you know, how can I help someone with their event, or the opportunities that, you know, paying attention to opportunities to use my services, my skills, whatever, at, you know, someone else's event or so forth. And constantly making sure that I'm scheduling time to do that, so that you constantly have something going on. If your business is something else, it's the same idea. You just have to always be thinking ahead and try your best not to, if you're counting correctly, you won't put all your eggs and all your time into just one project and one thing. So that's the best advice I would say, is just to remember the marketing piece. That's how I keep the pipeline going.
How much of your time meaning your company and your strategy, is based on one-on-one marketing, personal relationships, and social media, internet, all that, you know, media outreach? How much do you have a strategy around what percentage of time? Because I think this is really critical for businesses, because you can do a brilliant job and you can be amazing at what you do. But if nobody knows about you, and if nobody understands that there's a world of people, a set of clients that love you, and they won't choose you. Right. Because they just don't know enough about you. They don't know enough about your value proposition, etc., your unique differentiators. So how do you go about making sure that you're ever present in the market?
Right. Well, it comes to, I do have a strategy around it for myself, but I think it also, even though the strategy it works for me, I think it's important to look at what you have as far as marketing for your own business, how new you are, how long you've been in the business. If you're brand new, it's going to be a little bit different. So as far as one-on-one personal marketing, attending network events and getting in front of people, I probably spend a good third of my time doing that. And then there's a third that is through social media and the internet. As a small business owner, this is a great opportunity, whether it's social media, whether it's just online presence, to get your business out there in a very inexpensive way. So that's really a go-to. Those two things are really important for newer, smaller businesses. As you grow, the other piece should be, you should expect to invest financially into your business. You shouldn't expect that social media and face-to-face alone will do it. So that extra third of time doing paid, I would say, or investing money into your business as far as marketing is important. And that's where the flexibility will come in. So if you're newer, of course, you're going to spend less or be able to allocate less. And as you grow, you'll be able to allocate more. And you want to be really focused in where you are putting that based on your product and services. Getting feedback from people, like what works and what doesn't work. What types of places should you put your money into?
How do you decide what's, I guess, not even, this is not the right term, but what's worth your time? And what I mean by that is there's so much that has to happen when you run a business. And then there's the art of having to be strategic in your business, meaning taking the time to actually do planning, to actually map out what's the next phase of your business. Where are you guys going? What's the direction? Is the expansion of the demographics changing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? The list goes on. And then there's the art of having to do the work, to actually sit with the client, to really get the event to a place where you obviously will count it as a successful event. Right. But then there's also this desire inside of you that I know, because I had personal account of this, where you want to volunteer and you want to do things for the community. You and I met, several months ago at an event that a dear friend of ours, May McCarmo, and I hosted for Maston Kip, big book launching thing. And all of a sudden, I get this email from Mayma saying, we have a volunteer. And you just showed up, you did whatever you had to do that whole night, you stayed the entire night, and then I read up later that you had your own business, that you traveled for so many miles, to get to the place. Why did you say yes, and how do you determine what's valuable and what makes sense for you and what doesn't? Because that is so tough when you want to give so much to the community. You can't be everywhere. Right. So how are you, the process of deciding what's best for you and your overall goals?
Right. Sometimes there's a lot of different ways that I come to that, what I will do and what I won't do. A lot of it has to do with timing, and sometimes it's timing. I mean, obviously, I want to, if I decide to volunteer or to give time for an event or anything, you want to make sure that you can give it 100%. So for me, although I would love to do lots of different things, I go back to that trusty calendar and say timing. Will I be able to really be effective in helping this person? It may sound harsh, but you don't want to help someone just because you're trying to fill up all these good deeds and look what I'm doing. You really want to make sure you have time to do it. Another piece that came in, like you said, a dear friend, Mayma. I've dealt with Mayma. I've worked with her organization. I've even worked with her with the Pink event. And so sometimes it's a matter of, yes, I get to help her, you know? So sometimes it's just a matter of the relationships you build. And so you have certain relationships and the decision is made on, I have a relationship with this person and I want to, if at all possible, help and give a hand. So those are the main factors that come in. But you know, even if you have a really good friend or colleague and you just really want to do it, at the end of the day, you really have to have the time. You have to look at the rest of your schedule and what you have going on, and you have to be realistic. And one other little piece is if it's especially when it's cause related or something like that, then that also, of course, plays a role. Certain causes, as everyone has certain things that are kind of dear to them, depending on their own personal experiences. And so you'll push a little bit, but at the end of the day, even if it's a cause, it's your calendar that matters. You know, like if you don't have time to give it your all, you really shouldn't.
So where does that come from for you, the giving factor, the wanting, the desire to really help these nonprofits or these causes? And, you know, is there a personal tie into why you've chosen to really work with women-based businesses, and especially, you know, in this case, with Tiger Lily breast cancer? Is there a personal connection to that led you there?
For me, yes. With the women businesses, I grew up in a single family home, and my mom owned her own business and still does, and has for over 30 plus years. And I've seen her in that role as a woman business owner, and I've seen her start from the beginning growing her business. And I definitely have a soft spot when it comes to women businesses and women business owners who are trying to succeed. So that's a big part of it.
Makes sense now.
That's a big part of why that's always been a real big focus since I have started event planning professionally, is creating things that support women. That's important to me.
What have you learned from Mama Bear? What have you learned from Mom as an entrepreneur? You know, as you look at her years, whether it's challenges or triumphs, what have you learned that you practice today for your business? And what do you share with other women-owned businesses, especially when they just launched?
Yeah, definitely what I've learned from her is you definitely can do what you set your mind to. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it because you're female, because of your race, background, nationality, anything. Don't let them tell you you can't do it. You definitely can. I also learned from her it takes a lot of hard work. It's not going to just fall into your lap. It's not going to be necessarily easy, but that's no reason to give up. So I definitely, that's what I share with would share with new business owners, is that you absolutely can do whatever you set your mind to. You've got to be focused, you've got to have a plan, and then you just have to go out at it like it's like the only thing that you want. You know, like you have to be passionate about it. And one thing I've also learned from my mom is you just have to be real. You know, you really, I know that's used a lot nowadays and so forth, be real, keep it real, whatever it may be, but you really do have to be true to yourself first, and then you're automatically going to be true to others. You're just going to automatically, you know, you have to be real about what you want, what you can do, what you can't do, you know, that kind of thing. So I've learned that from her. I've just learned that I had that drive to just to persevere. And I want to help other people find that in themselves, you know.
And I also think too, it's being able to seek help,
yeah,
and ask for it,
Definitely.
which has been such a challenge for me my whole life. But I have grown and I've learned that is probably for me the most critical piece toward what I would consider to be my success today. And I didn't know that was kind of the golden rule, because I thought that if I did it by myself and I worked hard and I can do anything, which is true, the vision and the dream is true, but you could do it better and faster and maybe even expand that initial vision when you have people around you that really want to support
Yes.
that are actually smarter and brighter and more talented than you in some of the areas. So what do you have to say about that? I mean, have you had to learn that as well?
I certainly have, because if you start, which you have started, anything, it's your baby, and you really do feel like you're the only one who really is going to completely get it. So you're really afraid to delegate, to put things out there for other people to take care of. It's a funny story in the beginning. With my business and just my events and so forth, I want to delegate, and I would delegate. But then I would look over and make sure it's all going right. I would peek into the blog and see, did this go right? So it's like you really do get to a point where you're like, okay, in order to be successful, I really need to focus on what I do best. And then when I delegate to someone who does it better than me, I should let them do it.
Right. I mean, how much of that is them, right? In
Right.
terms of like the distrust, or how much of that is our stuff that we have to stop trying to control everything. So
Yes, definitely.
well, you've got some great tips and advice, and I certainly want to make sure that people have access to you, learn more about not only your business service, but more about you and your heart. So where can people find out more about Tamika, and where can they learn about your services?
Well, they can find out a little bit about me on our website, Diamond Events website, which is makeitdiamond.com. There's a little page there, I think it says Meet Tamika or something like that. Then I'm really big on social media. So if you're on Facebook or those types of things, I definitely love connecting. I definitely love, just meeting new people, talking, connecting, that kind of stuff.
Great. So it's makeitdiamond.com.
Makeitdiamond.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the Pink event. We'll be there.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to speaking. I'm looking forward to sharing. I'm also looking forward to learning. So again, we really appreciate it, and we are honored to be a sponsor.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tamika. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Tea with Mali, and we will see you next time.